contender Achilles heels. And so the idea of this segment is there are the teams that we think are in the Super Bowl window, playoff window. You talked about that with Devin and Rodney last week. But they all have something where, things could go wrong. Yeah. It could be ominous if this is not shored up or if they're not able to figure something out. And so we're going to go through all the teams. You're going to give us the number one thing that you think is an Achilles heel. And I will give you the freeway or the leeway to do two if you really want to do two.
Well, you know me. I'll probably have two and a lot go, well, this, but I also this, right?
And then I'll have to go, if you were to pick one, though.
Right, exactly. I know. These are tough, but I feel like I got it pretty much narrowed down to one thing with most of these teams, where I'll throw in a little inkling of other things here and there to finish out the conversation.
Got it. All right, so we'll start in the AFC, and we'll start with the Chiefs. And so the idea here, if this team comes up short this season, it is because of blank. We start with the Kansas City Chiefs.
The blank is just, can they climb the mountain again? That's my biggest Achilles heel. You've heard me say it. All these years where you've heard me tout the Chiefs, they're amazing, blah, blah, blah. I've almost been one of those guys like Chiefs over the field almost every year since Mahomes has taken over. I feel like this is the year where it catches up to them. One, because of their division, like we talked about, the conference in general, the AFC. The way they played in the Super Bowl, I think it was deflating, right? Some aging superstars. Mm-hmm. Again, just to do all of that again, in my heart of hearts, I don't think they will be back in the AFC Championship game this year. That's what I'm expecting, right? So that, to me, is the biggest thing. The mental, physical hurdle of getting back to the mountaintop while everybody is hungry and we got some big-time players in the division. But here's another aspect just on the field. Yeah. Right? Difference makers in their front, right? Difference makers in their front seven, okay? George Karlaftis is very good, okay? And then you got Chris Jones after that, who's the second, guy there, and really the main guy. He's the household name. But to me, Chris Jones was not as dominant last year as he was in years past. He's not. I don't think we've hit a spot here now where I go, I don't think Chris Jones is getting better anymore. He's still really good, but he's plateauing or going towards the down spot of his career, right? I just worry about them, and like we saw in the Super Bowl, right? Did any defensive lineman really show up in the game? Really? I mean, they had to put a lot of extra people in the box and basically play cover zero with no help on their corners and all of that to stop the run game. Yeah. And why is that? Because of lack of size, lack of playmakers, whatever else on that side. Chris Jones, yes, he's gotten to a point here where it's getting up there in age. Mike Pennell's been around for a while. Mike Dana is a good player, again, really good. But we're talking about Super Bowl contender, they're going to win the Super Bowl, that type of team. No, I don't think there's quite the talent on that front that I see in some other teams, right?
They did use a lot of their draft picks, a second-round pick, a third-round pick, a fifth-round pick, and guys in the front seven.
They know. And this was, again, Chris Jones is still the man, but not the man to where he was up the play every other play like we talked about for years and years on this podcast, right? And Karlaftis is better than people realize, but still – I'm not going to put him in the category of some of the top pass rushers in football, right? That's the big thing. So that to me is the that and the climbing the hill again or the mountain is tough
I think
there.
The easy answer would have been protecting Patrick Mahomes after what we saw in the Super Bowl, but you don't think that rises to the level of number one.
I don't think it rises to and I think that they literally a shamrock and a horseshoe up their ass with Josh Simmons falling to them at the end of round one, right? And then you hear the reports of what they're talking about there. And I guess my other thing is I have faith in Andy Reid that he'll fix these issues out for Patrick Mahomes. He knows that was not a fair environment for him to be successful in the Super Bowl or anything like that. So, yeah, again, I'll be watching that, but that's not my main concern. It's not.
Buffalo Bills in the Super Bowl window. They got Josh Allen going for them. What's the Achilles heel, though?
Yeah, well, the Buffalo Bills have so many good things about their team in general. It's hard to look at the offensive side of the ball and really go, oh, there's something here I worry about. I'm going to say this. I've been saying it. You've heard me say it, and I don't think it really changes again. I still don't think there's a difference-making defensive player for the Buffalo Bills. I'm putting the whole defense. I know, again, maybe Joey Bosa can be that. I know Matt Milano's awesome. I don't mean to say it disrespectfully, but tell me the last time there was a big game and we went, oh, the defense did awesome and made it happen. Tell me when that is. Tell me the last time there was a big game and we went, ooh, that guy took over and made a big play, like Chris Jones has in Super Bowls and batting footballs down, or Trent McDuffie has, or an Aaron Donald has in a big moment to sack Joe Burrow to finish the football game, right? Or like we saw Von Miller on the Broncos those years, right? There's none of that. I just would like to – I don't think people realize that. A lot of these other great quarterbacks who have gotten to the promised land, they've had moments in playoffs where they haven't lit up the scoreboard, and the defense comes through and makes plays, and then we forget about it, and then they get to the Super Bowl, and we go, look, that quarterback won the Super Bowl. He's awesome, right? I mean, you could say that about the Eagles a little bit last year. So that's where, I still look at that as being a little bit of an Achilles heel for the Buffalo Bills. I like their team. Don't get me wrong. I like the D. But do I sit there and go, that's a Super Bowl D? No, I don't. I think it's a Super Bowl O that you just hope the D can be good enough to get them there and hang in there. But you heard my concerns with the Ravens game last year. We've talked about it. We've joked about it. They never stopped the Ravens one time in that game. Never. The Ravens stopped the Ravens. That's what they did. So that's still a big concern for me with the Buffalo Bills.
Because the offense was so good last year for Buffalo, it will be hard for them to replicate that. Even if you like their talent even a little better or the same, it does seem like the defense will need to step up for them.
It does.
Just because they were so good last year.
And to that, hopefully they can play more man-to-man on a consistent basis. I think that will free them up and allow them to do some maybe other creative things, and I think that's why they drafted Maxwell Harrison in the first round, and you got Christian Benford, who's a damn good corner over there, and I think that's an aspect that I've talked about, right? That's one of the reasons they're not as good either. They can't play man-to-man against some of the elite offenses in football because they haven't had those cover guys to do that. So McDermott's always had to come up with a way to go, hey, I got to play this creative zone, or I got to play the percentages. I think you're going to do this, so I'm going to drop a bunch of people over here, right? And that's just hard to do against the great offenses and great quarterbacks in football all the time. So that's what I would say there.
I get it. All right, Lamar Jackson is a quarterback who has had the benefit of a good defense throughout his career. The Achilles heel for the Ravens. Let me throw one here and see if you agree or disagree.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Derrick Henry. He was so good. And, defied logic with it, what is he, 31 now or whatever?
Yeah, it's up there.
If he takes a step back, it kind of screws up a lot of the things they like to do on the offensive side of the ball.
I get you there, but I'm not going to say that because I still think it's going to be good enough to where we're going to go, damn, they're still dominant, right? O-line's big, the threat of Lamar running, right? And we saw Derrick Henry. Yeah, I don't know if it's all going to line up the way there, but he was still good last year. Yeah. Damn, he could still run for long touchdowns, which is amazing, right? When I look at them, I think the thing I go is third receiver a little bit, right? Like Rashad Bateman's dealt with injuries throughout his career. If he gets hurt, are we really going to be DeAndre Hopkins and Zay Flowers? That's what I worry about a little, okay? But I still will go with, I think, the pass rush. I do. I think I'm going to go there. Now, you talked about Lamar and all of that, and they got to believe they can get over the hump and play better football in the playoffs and all that. To me, one of the biggest storylines is, I was going to say this on Football Night in America, but the show got long and the segment got cut out. One of the biggest storylines in all of football to me this year is that Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson have yet to be to a Super Bowl. They are two of the best quarterbacks in the history of the game. For my money, they're as good as it gets. You'd have a hard time. I put them up there with anybody. They can do it all on the field, right? But they've yet to even be to the big game. And this is a quarterback league where we know the rules are favored for the offense and all that. For them not to be there, I think is a big story. So we'll see where that goes. But that third receiver, but still, I still look at it, and I know it got better. And this is where you wonder if our guy from Marshall, who fell to them in the second round, Mike Green, right?
Oh, yeah.
If he can maybe pop out and be that pass rusher. But if the Ravens can be that team that can get to you just with their front four, and now they can be real creative in the back end, Yeah, I think it's just the pass rusher is the only thing I look at. If they can get the pass rusher or one good pass rusher and one pretty good pass rusher on the other edge there, then I would go, damn, the Ravens are going to be just about impossible to stop because now they don't have to worry about compromising secondary or blitzing to do stuff like that. Yo, homies, what's up? Thanks for watching Chris Simms Unbuttoned. And just because the weather's warm doesn't mean football ain't still on our brains right here.
We are still working, so smash that subscribe button. We got all the training camp news, preseason news, everything up until kickoff night.
Thanks for watching. And again, remember to hit that subscribe button. Peace out, homies.